Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. I have the pleasure of having Martin from the UK on with us, and he has graciously allowed to share his success story with you. Hopefully, to give you some insight as to his journey, what worked for him, and also a little bit of inspiration. So, Martin, thank you, man. Great to
Okay,
see you.
pleasure.
Yeah, so we usually start this call out by you telling us a story. Assume you're at a coffee table, having a coffee and hanging out with a friend and
Yeah.
telling them about what's been going on and how life is now and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
So, share a little bit of your story.
Yeah, well, my story started when I was in my early 20s, so about 30 years ago. I developed back pain fairly quickly. Didn't know much about sauna and anything else at the time. So kind of just coped with it through my whole 20s, just with kind of niggling pains. And didn't sit in certain chairs, didn't drive certain cars, all the stuff that we now know is PDP. And then just kind of got through my 20s. My 30s, it all went south really, and I was in a lot of pain for pretty much 8 or 9 years. Um, I went to Germany to have surgery, which cost me £10,000, which didn't
Wow.
work. I had my coccyx removed because they thought that would help with my sitting problem. Numerous treatments, acupuncture, massage, it went on and on. And I kind of just then resigned myself to the fact that, well, this is my life really. And then I kind of, spent a lot of my time just working, then lying in bed and trying to recover. And I came across Sarno. So read the books, and kind of just gradually got better over time, and I think mainly now when I look back now, I think it was just because I decided there was nothing wrong with me, which was the first step.
Hmm.
And then I kind of just resumed activity. And then sort of through my sort of 40s, I pretty much was okay. I had,
Awesome.
every 3 or 4 months I'd have a bout of back pain, and then it would I'd buy a new bed, or I'd change my car, or I'd do all the things that and then it would go away. And then sort of the last 3 years up until this year, I didn't have a single symptom at all. It complete, and I was kind of in my head thought, well, it's TMS, I've got it, it's gone. And then this sort of March, April time, it all started when I went on holiday. I had quite a stressful holiday. There was a lot of family there, and the dynamic wasn't great. And came back and got back into my bed at home, and this is how it seriously started. And thought, oh God, this bed isn't as comfortable as the bed I had on in my villa on holiday. And then basically within a week, the whole thought process had gone offline. I was injured, and I was basically, had symptoms that were off the scale. So this was back in April. I spent pretty much Easter here and a week in bed, just kind of thinking, well, I know about TMS. I kind of know what's going on, but how did I get here? So I think I did about 3 weeks of just struggling on. Came across you, Dan. We did a one-to-one coaching call, if you remember.
I do.
Kind of reaffirmed exactly what I was thinking, and then just started the getting well process again with my mind, really. So and it's and a lot of people have said on the group coaching calls, oh, it's you've been really quick at this and everything else, but then this is just a relapse really, so I haven't had to start from the beginning. I've always known I had TMS. I didn't reach for doctors this year. I didn't take pain meds. I didn't do any of those things, but it did catch me off guard. So and it's taken me a while to get back on track, and I've followed the videos, I've done the group coaching, and I've learned an awful lot more this year than what I had done before. I didn't know really about PDP very much.
Right. And let's clarify that. PDP means perceived danger pain.
Yeah.
And for everybody watching, that's my terminology for TMS, which is Dr. Sarno's terminology for the mind body syndrome or tension myositis or myoneural syndrome.
Hmm.
I'm just kind of updating the acronym to be a little bit more descriptive. Perceived danger is what causes pain, or other symptoms. And so I've used the acronym PDP. So that's what Martin's referring to for anybody
Yeah.
who's watching. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt.
That's
Just
right. Yeah. So I knew about Sano, I knew about TMS, I knew about the repressed emotions. I knew it, but what I didn't really kind of understand was, the whole thing about the danger thing. It didn't really resonate to me, and I've learned so much this year. When obviously, and now that I've got to a stage where I don't have symptoms, it's I know you say it's not a light switch, and I can actually go down a fear loop, think, oh my God, that chair is awful. It's the most dangerous thing. And I can feel it turning on. I know
it
it's
turns on like a switch.
yeah,
It doesn't turn.
literally.
It
Yeah,
turns off more like a slow dimmer
yeah,
switch.
yeah. And I think part of my one thing I will say is this year, I think I've been very frustrated, and it isn't a light switch, and it is a dimmer switch, and it does do this all the time. And I
Mhm.
think, once you get through the fear, I've found my journey has been, despair, sadness. Here I am, in this situation, and then you kind of get determined, and then I kind of went through I've been the whole anxiety stage, because I think it is definitely a process. And then once you get rid of the anxiety, you've got the fear to deal with. And then once I got through the fear and the symptoms were very low level, it's then just the not taking any notice. That was the final thing in the end, really. So once the fear had gone and I'd stopped freaking out and all those things, literally once I stopped giving it any attention, that's when it just went.
Right.
Yeah, and I've had it jump around. I've had severe foot pain. I've had shoulder pain. I've had, stomach issues. It's done the whole thing. Everything that you describe in pretty much every video, it's done.
Yeah. Somebody else referred in a comment the other day that when the symptoms jump around like that, they're referring to it as, TMS's greatest hits. Like,
Yeah,
like an
yeah,
album with the best songs.
yeah,
So it's really interesting. But in my impression, when we start to have things jumping around, some people in the TMS community call that extinction burst. I don't know how to really define that or whether or not that's what's going on. Um, but I believe it's just that you've done a really good job of teaching the
mm,
brain that the original symptom
mm,
is no longer a concern, so it
yeah,
lets that one go. But you
yeah,
still have a brain and nervous system that's up here, and all of a
yeah,
sudden it starts interpreting something else in your foot or your shoulder or whatever as dangerous and turns on that pain.
yeah,
And the key for you is as long as you don't give that any new concern or any freak
yeah,
out, that goes away quickly too. And over time, the whole system can settle down and you end up where you are right now, which is in a very, very good place.
yeah,
I would imagine one of the things that's key for you is that you worked through the fear of the pain as it was currently active,
yeah.
but you've now gotten to the place where the fear level of a potential future episode has also come down so much.
Yeah, and that was my biggest worry. When I said to you in the beginning, oh, I've conquered this before, I don't want to have to go through this every 2 years, 6 months or whatever. And I don't feel like that now, because I think now that I understand the fear and I understand how it works, I'm gonna get twinges, I'm gonna get odd bits here and there. It's nobody lives a perfect pain-free life. So I'm aware of that now. And, I've got this foot pain still. I mean, I don't class that as a severe symptom. It was quite nice to have somewhere different, to be honest. I was quite pleased. But, I've still got this foot pain that comes and goes. I wake up in the morning some days, but I really generally don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop me walking. It doesn't scare me. And I just laugh now. I just think, well, I'm out walking my dog. If you want to hurt, great, but we're still doing it, and then it vanishes. So,
And that's the key.
yeah.
When you don't give it any fear or significance or any concern,
Mm,
it can vanish. It can fade away. It can go away. And that's exactly what I'm going to recommend to you and anybody else
mm,
that's watching this, that if you get a twinge, if you get a new pain, the old pain coming back, this is how much significance and fear
mm,
and attention
mm,
you should give it.
mm,
Call it out for exactly what it is.
mm.
And then just as soon as you can get back to the mindset that helped you get rid of it in the first place,
Mm.
it'll go away again.
And what
And
I will say as well is, it's easy then sat here saying, "Oh, it's great," and I'm not going to flower it up. There have been some very dark moments this year, and I haven't done my decision was I wasn't going to go to the doctor, I wasn't going to take meds, and I wasn't really going to tell anybody. So I only told two people that were very close to me that I was going through this, because a lot of people don't understand. I think you're a wacko and all these things. So I've kind of done it on my own, and I'll talk about the group coaching in a minute. So I've done all this on my own, and it is hard. If anyone said it was easy peasy, it's not. But what I will say is, when you get to the end, life is amazing. I think us TMSers, when we're in the mix of a heavy episode of whatever's going on, you're struggling through the day. You struggle through, even if you're doing normal things, you go to a party, you're not quite enjoying it as much. And now I've got events for the weekend next week, and I've got the joy back. I think I'm so excited about this, and it does come back, and you will get there, but it is hard, but it's so, so worth it.
yeah, and what I like to tell people is, yes, it is hard, but you know what's harder? Staying
Oh,
where
being
you are.
stuck. Yeah, absolutely.
Staying where you are
Absolutely.
is way harder
Yeah.
than trying to do the work to teach your brain that you're actually okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any more time to freak out compared to reassure yourself. And
Yeah.
so, yes, it's challenging because of old habits of thought, and the fear can, cloud our thinking sometimes or often. But it's so worth it. Life after pain is fantastic. Like you said, the
Oh,
joy.
the joy now. I get up in the morning, and I've been through the getting up, body scanning, been through the anxiety. I've done all that. And I got up this morning, and this is fairly new. I've only been completely symptom free for 2.5 weeks. So it's fairly new, but I'm up, I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, out on the beach with my dog, and life is amazing. And all I will say is, one of the reasons I'm doing this as well is just keep going, keep going. It's so worth it.
Yeah, keep the momentum going. That's
Yeah.
fantastic, man. I'm
And
proud of you.
yeah, what I will say as well is, because I did this on my own, I joined the group coaching after 2 months, and basically, it was just that, having that bit where you could delve in and delve out is amazing. And I pretty much made some friends through that. And I've had times where I thought, I'm getting on a plane now, and Ingrid's gone, "Don't worry, Marty, you've got this. You can do this. You can do this." And the support I've had from the people, that have been there has been amazing.
Yeah, it's really a cool community. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been blessed to get such a great group of people joining.
Yeah.
I've never seen any bickering, judgment,
No.
snarkiness, nothing but love and support. And if
Yeah.
somebody is sharing a win and they're getting emotional on a happy side,
Yeah.
half the room is freaking crying. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's so much empathy and care for each other there. And if
Yeah.
somebody is struggling and crying, there's, a bunch of people in the room who are
Yeah.
crying and
Oh,
supporting through
amazing.
the chat and joining in. And, oh, can I say something to X, Y, and Z person? I really want to encourage you. I was there myself. And it's not just me coaching, right?
No.
You can get that stuff in my videos, but when you really want to feel like you're a member of a community,
Yeah.
surrounded by people who truly understand you when nobody else in your life does. Like you
Yeah.
said, everybody thinks you're a wacko,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the group gets it. And
Yeah.
so,
But I was thinking today as I was driving along, I was thinking the group code, it's a bit like a house party. You may think this is nuts. So, there's been like 20, 25 people on the calls, and I've, been in and out in various weeks. But for me, there's like 5 or 6 people that I'm in touch with on Facebook. When you go in a kitchen and there's that one person, I've got to talk to them. I need to have a drink with them. And I just think it's been so supportive, and we follow each other on Facebook. We like each other's posts. We're, still after this now, we're egging each other on about certain things. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I know that there are several people within the group who I kind of feel like they've made lifelong
Yeah.
friends. There's a few people, won't mention them by name, but they're actually like, we need to plan a trip and get together.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just people like, there's one person in the UK, I've got the US, the Netherlands. It's not just because I'm English I've gone to English people. We're from all over the world. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's been a really cool environment. I'm glad that's been supportive for you. It's given
Yeah,
you a sense of community.
yeah.
Because through my journey, yeah, when I was going through it, I was married at the time. My wife kind of understood it, but she didn't really understand
Mm,
it. And my
mm,
family didn't understand it. And they were all like, shouldn't you go see a doctor again? And
mm.
I just didn't get it. And they still don't get it.
Yeah, and I've got people that are quite close to me in my family that have TMS massively. And and I kind of made that decision in April not to tell people. Some people say, oh, you kind of soldiered on by yourself. But there are some people I think would have set me back, just by saying, oh, well, why haven't you been to the doctor? Why haven't you had an MRI again? Why, all these things. So I kind of made the decision, whilst it was lonely before I joined the group, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do this without any distraction.
Yeah. And yeah, and some people end up when they have people around them that they can talk to and who are sympathetic, it almost becomes a habit to
Yeah.
just talk about your symptoms or your pains and how much you're struggling. And
Mm,
that won't help teach your brain that you're okay because all you're doing is talking about the symptoms.
yeah,
And
definitely.
so, it was great that you did that, but I don't know that you would have done that had this year been your
Probably not. No, probably not.
very first time. So you
Yeah.
had the benefit of going through it in the past and going through all of those medical, you know, um,
Mm,
adventures, I'll say.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I'm thrilled to be there for you. This go around, shorten the recovery time frame, build a community, have people cheering for you, and
Yeah. And if
yeah,
anybody's doubting, because I mean, when I was in the thick of, the anxiety, I would go out in the morning with my dog and sit in the park and watch two or three of your videos, not obsessively all day, just so I could get to work, just so I could actually try and, because I kept going through all of this,
yeah,
and actually, the videos are completely accurate. If anyone's got any doubts about TMS, it's, I was, off the scale in April and I'm now doing everything. So it's real and
so
it does
May,
work.
June, July, August, September, October, so
Yeah,
6 months
yeah,
with a lot of ups and downs in between.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And but if you've got to have the belief, you've got to stop the freaking out. You've got to try and be as calm as you can, and you've got to just. I think the turning point for me was doing everything and not having restrictions on my life. And then
Mhm.
obviously just the fear, just not just staying in a rut of doing everything by routine, getting out of that fear, getting on a plane, going on holiday, all the things that were scary. Once you start doing those things, you then start building up, well, yeah, I can do that now. And I've got more confidence in that. And then that's when it started steamrolling for me.
Yeah, the momentum really picks up. The
Yeah.
more you do, the more you realize I'm capable of doing. And even if you did it and there were some symptoms still, you're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm still glad I went because I got to do this, this, and that. And now all of a sudden you start living your
Yeah.
life instead of
Yeah.
avoiding your life.
Yeah, and the fear is real. I went on holiday in May. It was for my 50th, and I didn't realize, when you said about how the system is on overload, I forced myself to go on holiday, and it wasn't great. I had a rubbish time, and I realized how scared I was by the fact that I was scanning the room for chairs, all the stuff you talk about, and I went to walk up some steps at a cliff, and I'm not scared of heights generally, and I didn't realize how bad my system had got by the fact there was a no rail on these steps, and I literally was like, I couldn't walk up the steps, and
Yeah.
I kind of got back down, and I thought, God, I'm my whole brain is so scared of everything, and that was a light bulb moment. I thought, because I thought I wasn't like this previously, but I can't walk up, something that's 3 stories high. I'm terrified. So
Yeah, it's just the brain gets into a state of hypervigilance,
yeah,
always looking out for danger everywhere.
yeah,
And even things that would have never bothered you before, like a set of stairs, and there should be a railing, but there wasn't.
yeah,
You lost your confidence to be able to walk upstairs without
yeah.
plummeting off a cliff,
I know, I know, I know.
But
And
that's normal.
yeah,
That's understandable. It's the whole system that rises up.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not just a little fear of a part of your body. It's the whole system gets hyper vigilant and hypersensitive. So
yeah,
that's a great example.
yeah. TMS and PDP is one final thing. Is a weird thing. I mean, my thing was sitting. that's been my biggest thing. And now when I look back, throughout this whole time, I kept going to the gym because I thought I've got to keep my mental health going. And I was going to the gym, lifting weights, on all the machines. And now I look back, I did all that without a massive spike in symptoms. Yeah, I couldn't sit in a chair in a restaurant. And I know it sounds bonkers now, but when you're in it, it's real. And you're just like, oh my God, that chair, I can't do it. I'm gonna just stand up for a bit, or I'm gonna,
And let me stand at the bar instead of sitting in the
But
chair.
yeah, I was going to the gym and lifting weights, and that was okay because in my brain that was safe, but the chair was dangerous. But it's just it's mad.
Well, it's that's evidence that what we expect,
Yeah,
the brain creates. So
yeah,
you had enough instances of sitting in a chair and having it hurt that your brain just said, okay, chairs are
yeah,
dangerous. So you walk in and you're like looking for the best, most comfortable, cushy chair.
yeah,
And you're like, oh crap, there are none, just these wooden chairs. And
yeah,
so, oh no, this is going to be awful. That expectation literally turns it on.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, man, you're doing great. Really
yeah,
proud of you.
yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and for anybody watching, this is just what happens when you really take on the information, you take it from the intellectual and start putting it into place so it can go from here to here, which is wisdom. It's a
Mm,
true belief that, holy crap, I'm actually okay. And I
mm,
think you have that sense now deeply, which is why
yeah,
you're able to go out and live your life
yeah,
and say,
and
yeah,
yeah,
so a
yeah,
little twinge, no
absolutely.
big deal.
And you did the video, which I played quite a bit, was the don't get depressed, get determined.
Yeah,
And I got into the mindset where I thought I am not prepared to live my life with these restrictions in this kind of mental state. There is no way on earth. And I'm a fairly determined guy, but I thought,
right.
and not that it was a fight because you can't fight TMS, but I was like, I am not gonna stay like this, and I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to kind of get myself in a situation where I'm not that bothered. And that I think that's you can either let it get you and just and I know people around me that have stayed in certain situations for years, but it's definitely it's this. You've got to.
This is completely a brain game.
Yeah,
And I see people commenting all the time, and both on my Facebook pages and my YouTube channel, as well as other TMS groups. And it's like, yeah, I know what TMS is, but my body's not listening. And I'm
mm.
like, it's not your body.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll probably do a video on this shortly. It's not your body. Your body is the screen hanging on the wall. The brain is the projector.
Mm.
So the brain is basically creating the movie, the script, and the
Mm.
storyline.
Mm.
The body
Mm.
is just the screen on the wall that's showing what the brain is creating.
Mm.
So it's not the body.
No.
So people are like, I'm so mad at my body. It's quitting on me. No, 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 no. Your
Mm.
body's fine. That's the
Mm.
core message.
Mm.
We don't have to worry about the body. We got to teach the brain that these false alarms called pain or other symptoms
Yeah.
are just based on perceived, not actual danger.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Unless you got
Yeah.
anything else to add, that was
No,
wonderful.
that's it. That's it. Thank you.
I really appreciate you being willing to share your story. Um, and probably within several business days, you'll see the video posts on both Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
If you'd like to interact, show up and look at the comments and
Yeah, by all means. By all means, absolutely.
respond if people are asking questions.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to stay anonymous, then
Yeah, and that's why I've done this as well. It is a journey, and and I watch success stories and obviously watch your videos, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today without that. And I think if I can help anybody else, then it's a good thing, really.
that's awesome. Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you doing this. This was
Yeah,
a great call. You had a lot of great insights, great story, great experience to share. So
yeah.
I appreciate you, Martin, and
Okay.
thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you.
You're awesome, man.
Okay.